And welcome everybody to another edition of Movie Battleground. Do not adjust your sets or your screens. It is JTH back hosting Movie Battleground, the day no one thought would ever come because no one ever thought to think about it. So now that that's all out of the way, we've got Matt Beer, we've got Madeeh Rehman. These guys had a lot to say before this match, and here's what they had to say right now.
It's been a while since I had a match here last time, and I get to play Madeeh this weekend.
So, a little while ago I got added to a group called Threesome, which obviously has me very excited.
Now, I'm a little worried about how the match is going to be received by everybody, because after I put an ultimate beatdown unlike anything anybody's ever seen, everybody's going to think it's fixed, because I was one of the heads of Movie Battleground from the beginning, and I still am.
And then I find out that it's for Battlegrounds. Well, I'm still excited, but not as much so for, well, you know, other threesomes can be fun. And then turns out that it's just me and Matt Beer, I think.
So I'm a little worried that you guys are gonna think, oh my god, it's fixed, you know, it's fixed. And trust me, it's not fixed. It's gonna seem like it after a match, because I'm just gonna destroy Madeeh.
I don't know. I think I've faced Matt Beer before, though, but I'm not sure. I can't remember which one he is. But either way, you know, makes no difference to me.
Look, Madeeh, you're a great guy, okay? I like you, you're hilarious. You always bring a smile to my face with your jokes and stuff, but you're gonna get destroyed.
Makes no difference to me. I'm gonna go in, whoops a mess, walk out, probably get told not to curse on camera a lot. And, yeah, that's about my plan.
Everybody's gonna think it's fixed, so I'm a little worried it's gonna, you know, be received in that way, because I want my destruction on you to be received very well. I'm just a little worried that people are gonna react in a not so good way. So, look, I wish you luck. You're really gonna need it, Madeeh, and I'll see you in the Battleground this weekend, buddy.
Much different plan than what I had when I first saw the group chat that said threesome in the title. But, you know, fuck, wish it was.
Wow. That's all I have to say about that. Wow. So, with that said, we've got a great group of judges here. We've got Kirk Kowalkowski. I guess I said his name right. Oh, probably skipped a syllable. You've heard worse? Well, I've been called dumbass, so I've definitely heard worse. And we've also got Grant Gregory is also here. And I believe it's his first time judging. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, so I got some new blood, I got some old blood, and so I guess we're getting ready to get started here. So you guys know the rules: 3 main round questions, 2 speed round questions if necessary. Opening round, 5-minute debate. Closing period. The first person to 3 points wins. It's as simple as that. So without further ado, I guess let's just get this started. So question number 1. So I went to see that Avengers End movie thing that made apparently a gajillion shit-tillion dollars already. And there was a trailer for this thing called Gemini Man, which apparently has Will Smith and Will Smith, but it's old Will Smith and young Will Smith, and one is good and one is bad. And I need a drink after seeing that thing. So basically, we asked you guys to pitch the exact same concept with a different actor or actress, because surely once that movie comes out, we'll still be waiting for a good movie with this premise. So without further ado, let's start with Madeeh. Who is the actor or actress that you have pitched for this concept?
I picked Clint Eastwood because why not? Why not make a movie where we've seen the old and the young, and then we'll just throw them together and make them yell, "Get off my lawn" to each other for the next 2 hours. So yeah, Clint Eastwood. That's the one I'm going with.
All right, so Madeeh picked an old guy, so I guess he wants old guy and very old guy in his Gemini Man concept. So, Matt, how will you counter that? Who's your actor or actress of choice?
All right, so my actor I chose based off of previous work, just seeing how good of a performer they are, just how far they can go, and the guy I feel that could pull this off is James McAvoy, because he has played literally 23 or 24 different versions of a person, in a way with the personality traits. He has shown that he can not only, be comedic, he can be scary, but he's shown in the exact same movie in a span of 5 minutes with Glass, basically, he can play 20 different characters. So I chose James McAvoy, as I butchered that.
I've done worse, so don't worry. So we've got Clint Eastwood, James McAvoy, two very good choices, I do say. So let's get the 5-minute debate period going. Clock will start when the first person talks.
All right, so I think we might have understood this question a little bit differently. I thought it was like a older self versus younger self sort of thing, whereas James McAvoy seems to just be facing off against a different type of himself. Is that where you're going with, or?
No. I just said that because we've seen that he can play 24 different people at the same time. So he has shown he can perform at a level to where, he played basically two same characters. One is a little good, one is more bad, or you could change it to where one is dumber, one's smart. You have a guy from Harvard, have a guy that dropped out of elementary school, something like that. So he's shown he could play the same character that has different traits, which could obviously benefit the movie. I feel that's what they're going with Will Smith, obviously with the good and some bad.
All right, because the way I saw the trailer, and maybe I just didn't pay enough attention to the trailer because it weirded the fuck out of me, but I thought it was like using like the weird Benjamin Button technology to try and like de-age them a little bit, to try and have them face off against a younger version of themselves. Which is kind of why I went with Clint Eastwood, because I thought, we've seen what he can do when he's younger, and him older is still. I'm not gonna get him to fight each other, but I think it would be like a good like dramatic movie, especially with Clint Eastwood in there, because he has got like a huge taste for like dramatic action, I guess, if you want to say it like that. So I kind of had him like facing off against a younger version of himself, or like doing some kind of like weird whatever time travel kind of shit, just to kind of see what he could teach him his younger self in the movie.
Yeah, and I feel like that could work with Clint Eastwood if Clint Eastwood was 20 years younger. He's what, like in his 80s or 90s now? He's really old.
Oh, right.
He's 150 years old. So, basically the same thing. He can't do as much. I feel like if you put Clint Eastwood in this movie, while yes, he can give a good performance, it's going to be a little slow. I feel like with this type of a movie, you don't want it to be a slow burn. You want to have it, kind of have a good fast pace. You don't want it to be like a dumb movie.
I feel like you could still have like a slow paced movie with this. Like I don't know what they're going to do with Gemini Man. Like if they're just going straight action, or if they're actually going to like go into the whole like sci-fi aspect of it. But
and you could
having a slow one would be really good. Like it would probably be better than what they're trying to do, which is just like, look at Will Smith face off against the Men in Black Will Smith. And
you could do it slow and stuff, but the only problem is I feel like it would be more on the boring side. But if you have James McAvoy in this movie, you definitely won't have that. He has shown, for one, he's a way better actor than Clint Eastwood today. Back in Clint Eastwood's prime, Clint Eastwood was obviously one of the top, tier actors, but now he's not really at that point. He can still give you a good performance, but it's not going to be anything special. The Mule he was good in, but it didn't really work.
I think that's just because he's been bored for the last, like, however old he is, like 30, 40 years.
Yeah,
I think something like this would really intrigue him, because he tends to go after, like, on his directing jobs, he does a lot of, like, really inspired stuff, I feel like, personally. He goes after a lot of, like, great subject matter, and I think that's where he gets more, like, into it. But I think if you have him in front of the camera on something like this, where they're kind of asking so much of him and he's like more engaged in it, I think he's going to do a lot better. I think he's going to be the Clint Eastwood that we all, some of us remember, some of us like have to look into YouTube videos to watch. But like, I think that we could really like see a different side of Clint Eastwood that we haven't seen in a long time if we get into this.
Maybe, but he's at the point to where, like you said, he's pretty much bored with things. I don't think something like this is going to intrigue him, because I don't think if you take this type of a movie, I don't think it would work in the type of field that he likes to work in, like the Mule and stuff. But if you have James McAvoy star in a movie like this, you can do anything in this movie. You can make it an action-packed movie and have it exciting. You can make it a slower, type of movie, and it would still work. James McAvoy is by far a better actor in this day. Now, if we're talking like, from 50s to 90s Clint Eastwood, okay, I could see where this would work. But in today's
That's
day and age,
40
he's
years,
not.
bro.
Yeah, I mean, but that was like where he was like in his swing. But in today's day and age, really, Gran Torino was his last good movie. That's over what, 10 years ago. He just, I don't feel like it would work with him. This is a type of movie I also don't think would work being really slow. And he's giving me the countdown. But like I said, James McAvoy is just a better actor. He can do literally anything that you want to do with this movie, and it would work.
That's time. All right, so that was good arguments by both sides. I guess we're going to go into closing arguments. Madeeh, you started off the opening arguments, so we'll let you finish out. I'll give you a minute, give or take, so you can begin whenever you want.
Sure thing, Willis. This movie is supposed to be a movie about an older version facing off against a younger version. Now, the way Gemini Man goes about that, who knows? I really wanted to see Clint Eastwood face off against his younger version, not necessarily in a violent action kind of way. I mean, you can't have violence and action in there, but at this point, 40 years ago, Clint Eastwood is still old, so it would be a really weird action scene, and it would have to be choreographed really well. Reason I don't agree with James McAvoy as much is I think James McAvoy for me has become very hit or miss. Like, I like his performances, but a lot of the movies he does are either like not great or they're something I enjoy thoroughly. So like Split, for example, I enjoyed, but then he does something on the other end, which is like X-Men Apocalypse or Atomic Blonde, which I didn't really like that much. Like, he does a lot of like weirder movies that I'm not a huge fan of. So that's why I'm not really a huge fan on the James McAvoy part. Granted, they're both great actors, but I really would be more intrigued to see current Clint Eastwood face off against Clint Eastwood that we remember from The Good, Bad, the Ugly, and that's era
time.
of Clint Eastwood.
All right, Matt, you now have your minute. Take it away whenever you're ready.
All right, and you just said it right there. James McAvoy is a good actor, and sometimes his movies are hit or miss, but that's not his fault. It's the movie's fault. He's always been able to give good performances in bad movies, as you just said right there, or decent movies. But like I said, with James McAvoy, he's shown in Split, Glass, and many other movies. He can pull off any movie at any range. He rivaled Patrick Stewart for Professor X, and that alone is something you have to go, wow, what a great actor. He's shown he can pull off 24 or even more different personalities by one character and make it feel realistic. This is a movie that you could literally do anything with him. You can't do much with Clint Eastwood. I don't want to see a movie like this where it's Clint Eastwood going up against a younger Clint Eastwood, as they fight to see who can get a better deal at Walmart for groceries. So I'm going to go with James McAvoy. He's shown he can pull off literally anything and any type of trait in a movie.
All right. Didn't use all your time, but you had about 3 seconds left, so I guess you got pretty much everything you needed in. Just for clarification, I looked at the question again just to make sure I saw it right. The question was, with the trailer of Gemini coming out, who is one actor or actress who you would love to see face off against him or herself? So it wasn't necessarily in a Gemini Man type of role. It was just
Okay.
Okay. So just to clarify that, but so let's go to our first of judges. First off, I think both of you made some really good points, but let's start with Kirk. Who did you think won that particular debate?
Two interesting choices. McAvoy, obviously, as Matt pointed out, was a good choice with his performance in Split, playing different versions of himself. And Madeeh really came out left field there, but it was an interesting choice with Clint Eastwood. Wasn't expecting to hear that one. Going, I mean, I'm assuming Matt would go younger to older, where obviously Madeeh would go older to younger. They both made some good points.
Go much older.
Yeah, but they both made good points. But the argument did kind of become about what kind of movie this would be, and what would happen in the movie, how the movie would play out. And I think Matt just gave me more about what James McAvoy could do. If Madeeh give me a little bit more, maybe about how first of all, how we would get Eastwood de-age, not just his physical appearance, but just also in his performance. I may have swung that way a little bit more, but as the argument stood, I gave my point to Matt.
All right, so that's one side for Matt. Let's go to Grant now. Who did you have in this particular debate?
Great arguments on both halves. The arguments, I did enjoy talking about how Madeeh said that it could be a much slower paced one that could work. Matt did come back with a thing saying the versatility of McAvoy is much better. He can do the action and he can do the slow one. I tend to hear more about why Clint was bad versus why McAvoy was bad. So on that basis, I'm going to give the point to Matt.
Alrighty, so it doesn't matter what my opinion would be. So yay, I don't get to talk. So that is 1 point for Matt. He takes an early lead, 1-0. But now we have question number 2, and I saw this question, and I was like, this is interesting. We want you guys to pitch what you think would be the best version of a coming-of-age movie with director Eli Roth, because if there's one thing I know less than coming-of-age movies, it's Eli Roth. So basically, what you guys, all you have to do, pretty much the basics: who your cast is, where it's going to be based in, and what the basic plot is. So, Matt, you were second in the first question, so you will kick off this one. Give us what your best shot for a Eli Roth coming-of-age movie is, I guess.
Okay, so when I first read this, I thought it was really weird about Eli Roth doing a coming-of-age movie, but then I saw the house with the clock in its walls, and I saw, you know what? Eli Roth doesn't have to just do gore porn. He can also do different types of movies and make it watchable. It was actually better in most of his gore porn films. So the movie I have is going to take place at Iowa University. It's going to star Dylan O'Brien, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicolas Cage, who's going to play Dylan O'Brien's dad. You're going to have Haley Steinfeld, Laura Dern, who's going to play the mom of Dylan O'Brien, and then Ansel Elgort, I believe I said his name right. And the basic plot I have is it stars Dylan O'Brien. He's going to Iowa University. He's that weird kid. He kind of got picked on a little bit. He's to himself, but he was pretty smart, so he goes to Iowa University because, you know, why not? And he meets Ansel Elgort, and he helps Dylan O'Brien kind of move through college, show how to live college, how to, you know, get people to like you and stuff. And then along the way, he meets Anya Taylor-Joy. They form a relationship. Haley Steinfeld is Ansel's girlfriend in the movie, and we get moments of Nicolas Cage showing his, you know, prime acting ability in like Raising Arizona and all that stuff. And then Laura Dern, you know, she really hasn't lost it much either, even though she was decent in Last Jedi. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
All right, interesting. 3 things I never thought I would ever hear in a conversation: Nick Cage, Iowa cornfields, and porn gore. So, Jesus Christ. So, Madeeh, let's see what you can do to
like Friday nights.
Oh, okay. No comment there. No comment. I'm speechless. So, Madeeh, let's see what you got to counter that. What is your pitch for Eli Roth?
Right. So I read this question, and my first response was, "That is a question." Good job, writers. So my Eli Roth movie, I don't have like a title or anything. I don't think Matt, you have a title either, but whatever. Mine stars Jack Black as the father of, oh God, I'm blanking on his name. Oh, fuck it out. This is a great start. It's the kid from Stranger Things. The one, Finn Wolfhard. There we go. Finn Wolfhard. So Jack Black is the father of Finn Wolfhard. And Millie Bobby Brown is also in there just to make it more like Stranger Things and just make it fun. Basically, him kind of finishing up high school and getting ready for university, because he's kind of at that age where you're not really sure how old he is, so you can kind of pull it off if you really went for it. And it's more like about how he comes to terms that he's going to be moving away from his dad, who has a close relationship, and going to university and trying to figure out life after high school. So yeah, that's basically my set in Chicago. Why not? The location for this one doesn't really matter. It's just more the cast and the dynamics they'll have with each other.
Okay, so interesting. We got a Madeeh with Windy City with black and brown and some other colors probably, and beer, I guess, pitching Iowa corn, not porn. So this is going to be pretty interesting. So
theater near you.
So I can't wait to see how you guys are kind of counteract these Jack Black and Nick Cage premise movies with Eli Roth. So 5 minutes will begin when the first person starts talking.
Okay, so first off, Finn Wolfhard. I don't think he really fits a senior in high school going to college. That kind of throws me off. Because if I'm gonna watch the movie, all I'm gonna think is this kid's like in 8th grade. What is he doing? And then
He's older than that for sure, man. That's the thing. Like he's I think like 18 or 19 now, or something like that.
Yeah, but
so he's like right at the age where he has just finished high school.
He played like a middle schooler or a freshman in it. So, I mean, with that and then with Stranger Things, to me, and then he also looks really young too. Yeah, he might be old enough. I mean, Tobey Maguire was 55 years old when he played Peter Parker in the first Spider-Man movie, but
Hollywood,
I don't
just make it look like it. I think that where it comes down to, like, for the both of our movies is, like, both of these movies are going to have like different kind of feels to them, because yours is coming from like surviving college, whereas mine is getting prepared for college. And the surviving college movie, I think I've seen a lot, and they end up being a lot more comedy based. Like the ones that are thinking off the top of my head anyways. Like I'm not really sure if I'm thinking of any off the top of my head that aren't like meant to be comedies. Whereas
I mean,
the ones
they are,
like going,
I mean,
like
they are
high
coming of
school
age
too.
movies with comedy in it.
Yeah, but like I don't know why, but like the first ones I'm thinking of are like things like Accepted or like Spectacular Now or something like that. Like those kind of movies, which are like more. Actually, Spectacular Now is not that movie. Now that I think about it, but I'm more like intrigued by like in those kind of movies. I'm always more intrigued by like the characters and the actors that they have in them. Whereas I think the Finn Wolfhard is a really strong actor, especially in It. I thought he was one of the best parts of It. And Jack Black, I love in everything. I think he would just be a like great fit to play any kind of character. Like if you put Jack Black in a movie, he fits in the movie. So I think that him kind of playing like the father figure in this, which I don't think he's really done before, I think would be really interesting. I think that they could really do a lot of cool work with it. And I'm basing this off of like a bunch of other movies that have had like random actors do really well in those kind of adult figure roles for a lot of the kids.
Right. And I mean, Jack Black technically did play a father, Goosebumps. I mean, it didn't really lean on that, but technically still did. But I mean, I didn't really say if my movie was a comedy or if it was a straight drama. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm going to have a little bit of comedy in it, but it's going to be more of a straight drama focusing on the characters and the struggles that they face in college when they first start off. And, you know, you're comparing it to those type of movies. When I think about your movie, the first thing that pops in my head is Perks of Being a Wallflower. And while that's a good movie, if I'm going to compare the two, I'm going to pick Perks of Being a Wallflower every single time, because that's one of the better coming of age movies maybe ever, especially of the last 10,
if you're going to make a movie, everything's going to be compared regardless. Like, it's not good.
Well, yeah, but
like,
I
no
mean,
matter how good the movie is, it's going to be compared. Like, we still compare movies like The Godfather and to like shit from way back when, so it's not.
Well, yeah,
like, I don't want them compared.
I was basically stating that because you were comparing my things, and I was like, oh, I can compare your movies with these. But I mean, Jack Black's good, but I mean, Jack Black's good and all. I mean, he is, and I'll admit, he's a good actor, and, you know, we need to protect him. You know, we need the United States government to, you know, guard him at all times. But he's not as good of an actor as Nick Cage. Yeah, if you look at Nick Cage's recent movies, yeah, it's straight to DVD, but he's never been bad in these movies. Maybe once in a while when they're forcing him to go over the top. But if you remember, Nick Cage won Oscars. He's been nominated for Oscars. And he was... in Snowden, he was like one of the only good things in Snowden. Dylan O'Brien, you know, American Assassin, he was great in that. He's great in Maze Runner. He's one of these big up-and-coming actors that I personally think are going to be, like, looked at as, you know, like 10 years.
I kind of don't want to see Dylan O'Brien in it. I want to see Dylan O'Brien do more stuff like American Assassin. I thought he was really good in it. Like, I really liked that turn. I really liked him in Deepwater Horizon, even though it was a minor role in Deepwater Horizon. I really liked him in it. And I don't want to see him go, like, not backwards, but like back towards like the high school role sort of thing, where he's playing like the teen on the edge of it. I kind of want to see him do stuff that is like more challenging for him. Like him playing a teenager, that's fine, but it's not really what I want to see him in anymore. I want to see him do stuff that really pushes his boundaries.
I mean, I could see what you're saying, but if he sticks,
is still on that age where he can kind of like branch out and do everything he can before he starts taking the really like incredibly serious roles.
I mean, he could go out and do another American Assassin type movie where it's all straight action, but then you're gonna start thinking of him as
Not
the
necessarily
action
just
guy.
straight action, but like doing things
I mean,
that are
yeah, but
like kind of
still,
all
I
over
mean,
the place. Like him doing
but
a coming of age movie, just for me, seems like he's. And I don't want to diss on coming of age movies, but
right.
they're not my
Fine.
favorite genre, and it does seem like he's stepping backwards if he does that.
All right, so that was a good debate period. I got to say it's pretty close on my end so far, so I think these closing arguments will be very important. So, Matt, you started off. You started off with the closing arguments. You can start whenever you're ready.
Okay, and I'm going to talk about some of the actors and actresses that I didn't get a chance to talk about. So we had, like I said, Dylan O'Brien. He's shown he has a lot of chops. He's going to be able to give a great performance in this movie. Anya Taylor-Joy is an up-and-coming actress that we have seen put in great performances. And unfortunately, we're not going to see New Mutants for quite a while. But every movie that she's in, she's great with Thoroughbreds and with The Witch and stuff. Nick Cage, like I said, he's an Oscar-winning actor. He'll be playing the dad, and I feel like he can really give a memorable performance. I could give him an Oscar nomination too. It wouldn't be the first for these type of movies. Haley Steinfeld's another up-and-coming actress that gives good performance after good performance, Oscar nominated. You have Laura Dern, Oscar nominated, really great. She can play a great mom, as we've seen in The Fault in Our Stars. Ansel Elgort, shown he's a good actor. He needs to be in more things too. It's going to take place in Iowa University. You don't really get that very often. It's going to be a more serious movie with some comedy moments at times, as you would expect. But this is a movie that I feel like Dylan O'Brien, he doesn't play a guy who seems like the weaker link. He's always playing the hero or something. So this is going to be him playing the weaker guy.
All right, Madeeh, take whenever you're ready.
Reason I don't really side with Matt's choice on his movie is mainly because a lot of these guys I want to see do something more. Like Nicolas Cage, I want to see in movies, period. But I'd rather see Dylan O'Brien do things that are more his speed. I'd rather see Haley Steinfeld kind of move away from the coming of age stuff, even though we've seen her in it. Anya Taylor-Joy, I've loved in the stuff that she's done as well. And I think, again, like she's good enough to be in any kind of movie she wants. So I'm not really sure a coming of age thing is going to be her speed right now. Like I do like some factors of your movie, but I would much rather see like a lot of up and coming actors rather than actors who have already been nominated for Oscars and doing really well for themselves take place in this movie. So I really want to see Finn Wolfhard, who's only really been in one major motion picture in It and Stranger Things, as well as like Millie Bobby Brown, who's not really had a lot of success in movies yet. She's got Godzilla coming out soon, but I really want to see these two come into the movie world properly.
Okay, I'm sure that's what you were going to say anyway. So good arguments on both parts. I have a slight favorite, but we're going to start with Grant, since you went second before. Who do you think got the better argument in this pitch?
Well, I definitely think these guys made it a hard decision for us. I like the fact of the matter is that you've got a big ensemble cast with Matt and everything, but I kind of felt like Matt did focus more on the actors in there and less of the actual story of it, apart from the fact that he was picked on and then he meets another person, then he meets another person, then he meets another person. Where I felt like Madeeh went in talking about how there's going to be issues with the father having to be separated from him and having to deal with that while growing up as well. I got a little bit of a fact check. Finn Wolfhard is 16 years old, so he does fit in that range quite perfectly. I like the point that Madeeh made about the comedy one, that the university stories are generally comedies, but Matt came back with a really strong thing saying he isn't going to be. That intrigued me, but not enough to give him the point. So I give my point to Madeeh on this one.
Cool.
Right, interesting. So I was leaning that way during the main arguments, and then when the closing arguments happened, I think Matt started to sway me a little bit more towards his end. He brought up the very good ensemble cast, as you mentioned, and Madeeh did mention, maybe give other actors an opportunity, but it's not really a bad thing to have a great ensemble cast. So ultimately, I liked Matt's pitch. I liked his cast. I liked the premise of his idea with Nick Cage. Talked about possibility of Oscar nominations as well, so you can't go wrong there. So I leaned very slightly towards Matt, just slightly. So it's one apiece on each of our ends. So Kirk, you are the deciding vote. Who did you side with?
If it was possible, I'd like to withhold my point on this argument because the centerpiece of the question was coming of age movie directed by Eli Roth, and neither of you gave me anything on Eli Roth. You completely dropped him out of the argument.
With talking about.
Yeah, you did. But as far as the movie itself, why it had to be Eli Roth versus any other director, if one of you would have made
Eli Roth.
Yeah, if one of you would have made one Eli Roth point to make what made this an Eli Roth movie, you would have got my point. So, so that kind of, I mean, you neither of you did that, so that took that out of there. Your plots were both basic, pretty general coming of age. So, I mean, that was a wash as well. So it came down to the cast because that's what you guys argued the most. And yeah, I mean, Matt had the big ensemble. Madeeh had Jack Black. He had the Stranger Things kids. And I think I liked Matt's cast just a little bit better. Wasn't a huge fan of the Stranger Things stunt casting. I think some of the names and some of the talent that Matt has, his was just a little stronger. So giving my point to Matt.
With that, it's 2-0 in favor of Matt. So if he gets this next main round question, he will win by knockout. We won't even have to worry about their speed round questions, and all that time they wasted making those questions will go all for naught. Guess they'll just have. I
mean, I'm going to blow it either way. So.
Well, since you do that, I guess we can just skip to the very end.
I was like, congrats.
Just name me champion already. I'm all right with that.
Well, like, congrats.
All right,
thanks.
so
Cody lost.
So let's move on to question 3, and I feel bad for Hugh Jackman. He's only been dead as Wolverine for about a year and 2 months, and we're already trying to recast him. So I feel really sad for him. And the choices that they've come up with for the possible nominees, oh boy, we've got some dude named Travis Fimmel, which I've never heard of, Taylor Kitsch, who I've heard of for all the wrong reasons, and Aidan Turner, who I only know because you sent the question to me. So other than that, I have no clue about any of these. So the fact that they're all potentially going to be the next Wolverine is kind of head-scratching. So what we basically did is we gave you these options of these 3 characters or 3 actors. Well, I guess they're technically the characters for Wolverine. But each of you got to pick which one you thought would be the best addition of Wolverine. And we're actually going to start both of you right away. Just say which one that you picked right up front.
I picked Taylor Kitsch.
Turner.
All right. So Madeeh picked Turner, apparently the Hobbit guy, and Matt Beer picked the John Carter dude. So stellar choices from Hollywood for the next Wolverine. So my apologies to Travis Fimmel. You did not make the chopping block here at Movie Battleground. There's 2 people here that don't want to see you play the role, which means in 3 days you'll probably become Wolverine on the casting decision. So congratulations on that promotion. Madeeh, you're down 0-2. You really need to make a comeback for the ages here. Pitch me why you think Taylor or
Aidan Turner.
Yeah, that dude is the best choice for Logan McClane.
I think part of the reason I really want to see Aidan Turner in this role is just JTH's reaction there. He doesn't know who he is. I don't think most of the world knows who he is. Even though he was in the Hobbit movies, people kind of forget that he's an actor. And I think that when Hugh Jackman came in, a lot of people were like, who the hell is this, like, Oklahoma, like, country musical guy? Like, why is he playing Wolverine, this ferocious character? And I think Aidan Turner could kind of have that same effect where he comes in and just shocks the entire planet of doing a really good performance. Now, I've seen a couple episodes of the BBC like Being Human series, which is really good. Like I really enjoy it, and he especially is really good in it. So I really think that he could do a really good job as an actor. And then he's also done these Hobbit movies, or he was in all three of the Hobbit movies. So he's had experience with like the big blockbuster kind of CGI fest, or like whether it's like on the like low budget end with the TV show, or the big Hollywood blockbuster that was The Hobbit. I think he's had experience in both, and I really do want to see him kind of have a middle ground where it's not as CGI'd as The Hobbit was, but is still able to give in a good performance. And I think he's a really good actor who should be given a shot and have people know his name 20 years from now as one of the actors who played Wolverine.
All right, but just for clarification, don't use my name to clarify that no one else has ever heard of him. I didn't even recognize Sonic in his own trailer, so let that be said.
Neither did I. I thought that they just like threw something together. I thought it was like a student film.
But first,
that was me when I woke up after 3 hours of sleep on a Monday.
Yeah, I do want to thank Paramount, by the way, for that trailer. I now no longer have to feel worried about being the ugliest sumbitch on the internet anymore after watching that. So thank you very much, Paramount. You made my dreams come true. So Matt Beer, you had Taylor Kitsch, Mr. John Carter. Apparently was supposed to play Gambit or something, or did play Gambit, whatever. So why is he now going to be Wolverine?
Oh, Jeremy, you're a beautiful son of a bitch. Don't tell yourself you're ugly. Anyway.
Well, at least one of us thinks that.
Yeah. I chose Taylor Kitsch because you say you heard of him for the wrong reasons. There's many reasons that why I think he'd be a great choice for this movie. He's shown he is a great actor in movies like American Assassin. He played the villain, speaking of Dylan O'Brien. He was in True Detective, and he was fantastic in True Detective. Like you said, he was Gambit. One of the only few things in that movie that were actually good. He was in Lone Survivor, and he was fantastic in that. And he was also in John Carter, which nobody really saw, but he's really good in that movie too. With all these performances and all these movies, he's shown he has range to pull off the dramatic side when he gets sad and stuff. He can pull off some of the jokes if they want to put jokes, because it's going to be Marvel, and Marvel likes jokes and stuff. He can pull off exactly what you need for Wolverine. He obviously can get big. So, and like, ripped and stuff, because you want that with Wolverine. So I chose Taylor Kitsch.
Very interesting. Taylor Kitsch, because he can get big. So that's good. That's positive for that.
Acting too.
Acting too. Yeah. Acting was secondary to he can get big. So Aiden Turner, Taylor Kitsch. Aiden Turner, Taylor Kitsch. This is going to be interesting. 5 minutes will start when one of you starts talking.
The reason I didn't pick Taylor Kitsch was because I feel like, although I do agree he's very talented and he does do a lot of great works, I love John Carter. I thought it was a great movie that just nobody saw, mainly because they probably should have called it John Carter of Mars or something. But I feel like a lot of people, I don't know if he has the same qualities of leading man as people think that he does. Like all the movies that you mentioned, other than John Carter, he plays like a side character, or like not the main guy, and I think he thrives in that role as like a supporting role. So I think having him as a supporting role is great, but I don't know if I want to see him in like one of the bigger roles, like the role of Wolverine.
And I mean, so that's what it's going to be with X-Men, though. Because you're going to have the X-Men movies. He's going to be one of the side characters, because it's not just going to focus on him. It's going to focus on the other characters as well, like Professor X, like Magneto. I mean, it's going to focus on all these other characters.
At the beginning, too, and then it just ended up being like a bunch of movies where Hugh Jackman was there, and then everyone else kind of surrounded him. Like the entire X-Men franchise up until this point has basically been, except for the James McAvoy ones, has been, here's Hugh Jackman, and then here's everyone else. And the rest of the cast was fucking brilliant. I mean, look at the cast that they had before. Like, it was Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry. Like, all of these actors are supremely good actors, and they still chose to focus on Wolverine because of the character that he was. And I feel like Marvel is not dumb. They're going to know that Wolverine is that popular, and they're going to want to put him kind of at the forefront again. And I don't know if you want to have Taylor Kitsch at the forefront. I'd love to see Taylor Kitsch in an X-Men movie, but I don't know if I want to see him as Wolverine specifically. just because I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily relate to him as much as they could. In The Hobbit, I thought Aidan Turner was probably one of the better parts of it. The romance story, not so much, but I thought that his performance in the movies was like one of the parts that I walked away saying, you know what, that guy was really good, and I really like struck a chord with him. And that, I think, will have a lot more like effect on who they pick, as who they think that is going to have more of an effect with an audience. Like, especially after we've seen Wolverine for the last 20 years as Hugh Jackman, I feel like they're going to go with someone that you don't recognize as much. They can kind of make it as own and still have the audience fall in love with the character. So that's why I kind of picked with Aidan Turner.
And I'm not going to lie and say Aidan Turner was bad in the Hobbit movies, because he was fine in the movies, but I don't walk away from that going, wow, where's this guy been? I don't walk away like that at all. Taylor Kitsch, once you see him in all these other movies and the resume he builds up, he becomes more and more well known as well. And that's because, like you said, he's always good in his movies. If, it's not his fault that, he works better as a side character than as a lead character in some things. Because, like you said, he's great in John Carter as the lead man. So you're going to have Marvel. You're going to have Marvel in the, working on the movie. And everybody's going to see X-Men no matter what, because it's X-Men produced by Marvel/Disney. People are going to go see that movie. It may not be like $1 billion, but it's going to make a lot of money regardless.
I don't know if people are going to go see the Phoenix movie that's coming out soon just because it has that name X. And Marvel, just the name doesn't mean that it's going to make them $1 billion. It's usually
no, but it's going to make a lot of money. A lot of money doesn't mean $1 billion. And the reason why these X-Men movies,
Transformers, that doesn't mean it's any good. I want to have the best movie possible, and I don't know if Taylor Kitsch in the lead role is going to be that. Is going to be what's best for the movie, because I feel like having him as a supporting character, which is where he does his best work. So if you had him as like one of the lesser known X-Men villains. Like, X-Men has a lot of villains. I think if you had him as one of the lesser-known villains, because I loved what he did in American Assassin. Like, him as, as a bad guy, I really enjoyed, and I want to see that again. So I don't know. I don't want to see him as, a hero again, because he's done that so many times, and most of the time it doesn't really work for most audiences. So I want to see him do something where he can really thrive, as a supporting character, as not the main guy on the poster, but as someone that you can really, say, you know what, that side character is one of my favorite characters in the show. Whereas I think Aidan Turner has that ability to be that leading man and to really, I think personally, Aidan Turner might be a better actor as well, just based on what I've seen from Being Human and from the Hobbit. Just based on those two, I feel like Aidan Turner has much more range and potential than Taylor Kitsch does.
You see, I disagree, because, like you said, Taylor Kitsch played a great villain in American Assassin. He was great in Lone Survivor, which he was one of the leads in the movie. He wasn't the main character, that, of course, is Mark Wahlberg, but he was one of the lead characters in that movie. He was great in True Detective. He's shown that he has a lot of range.
So, good arguments by both sides, but we do have a closing argument from both of you. So, Madeeh, you have one last chance to convince me why Aidan Turner would be the best Wolverine out of the bunch.
Hugh Jackman was playing Curly from Oklahoma before he got cast as Wolverine, and since then the world has never really been the same. He has become an icon for this character and how well he's portrayed this character. So much so that I still believe that he could have been and should have been nominated for an Oscar for what he did in Logan. Following that task up, I don't think you want to have Taylor Kitsch, who is much better as a side character. Yes, he's been good in everything or just about everything that he's done, except for True Detective, which I didn't really like him in. It was also the worst season of True Detective. But I think you want to give someone that no one really knows and bring them in and try and shock the world again. If it is with Marvel, Marvel's going to be able to pick the guys that the audiences really connect with and really can see this character fulfilling. No one really saw Chris Evans as Captain America, and then all of a sudden he does it, and he's become this character. And I think Aidan Turner has the potential to do that. Taylor Kitsch, I do want to see in the movie, but
all right, Matt, you're up. Give us your last pitch on why Taylor Kitsch would be the best Wolverine.
Look, just because Hugh Jackman came from Oklahoma to X-Men doesn't mean it's going to work every single time. Like you said, Taylor Kitsch, he's good to great in every single thing he does. With True Detective, American Assassin, he was one of the only few things good in X-Men Origins. He's great in Lone Survivor, John Carter. This guy has shown he has the range to pull off everything you need the actor that's going to play Wolverine to do. And no matter who you cast, people are going to go see the movie. And yeah, I know Dark Phoenix isn't going to do anything, but that's not Disney Marvel. This is the MCU. People want to know how it's going to connect to the MCU, so people are going to go see it regardless. So it's a matter of who's the better actor. And while I think he's good in The Hobbits, he's not great. He's not somebody that I see jump off the screen as like, wow, he's great. But with Taylor Kitsch, he has shown, and all of the movies he's done, plus he has a movie with Chadwick Boseman where he's going to play another villain in a sense, a cop killer. He's shown he has all this range. He can do whatever you need him to do.
All right, that was a really good debate. You guys really did a lot to convince me. Why both guys would be very admirable choices for Wolverine. So I'll lead off with this one. I liked Madeeh's argument about the fact that he was easily the best part of the Hobbit movies. I also talked about the fact that he had really good range and all that. Matt did a good job countering the fact when Madeeh said that, Taylor's better as a side character. Matt did bring up the fact, well, that's kind of the point because it's X-Men. X-Men's never really been known to have Wolverine as the front and center until the movies came out. So if he goes back to that secondary role, it could work better, which obviously is what Madeeh said. He's better as the side role. He also brought up the fact that he's more well-known. Ultimately, what it came down, I think it came down to the closing arguments to me. And Madeeh, I was looking for a little bit more in your closing arguments, but you kind of went back to your laurels on the fact that he was a better side character. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, but you kind of went back to that a little bit, whereas Matt kind of brought some more stuff to the table. So I gave a slight edge to Matt just on the closing arguments alone. So it's one for me, but it doesn't matter what I think so far. So let's go with Kirk. Who did you pick for this argument?
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't know these were the three guys in consideration until I read this question, and I've been pretty depressed ever since because none of them are great choices, and both you guys had an uphill battle to fight. And you both made solid points. Still don't necessarily want to see either of these guys in the role, but I mean, you fought admirably, and you did brought the passion for both actors. Ultimately, I thought that focus though was on starring versus side role for Kitsch, and I think that Madeeh really hit hard there when he said that no matter what Wolverine is in the comics, he's the Disney and Marvel know that he's the most bankable character in that franchise, and he's going to be at the center. And I agree with Madeeh. I don't know if Kitsch can pull that off. I don't know if Aidan Turner can either. But I did like, Madeeh brought up the point that Jackman was relatively unknown when they brought him in to play Logan, and look what he did. So I say give the relatively unknown guy a chance, and I'm going with Madeeh on my point.
All right, so it's one apiece for us. Grant, you will be the deciding vote. If you go with Matt, this match will be over. So who did you pick?
All right, I want to straight off the back. This was a very good argument between you guys, and a bit depressing, as you said. Once you found out that these are the people that are in consideration, why do they always got to go for the 6 foot something person? Wolverine was never that. So besides that, I really enjoyed the point that he said about it being a side character, and then Matt countered beautifully with, well, that's what Wolverine is. He's a side character. So that started making me lean a little bit more towards Jackman. I didn't like the fact that Madeeh he's basically an argument to which I thought he already won. He used that his final argument to basically reiterate the same point. And I don't think that Matt actually persuaded me either way with his last one. It came down to one line where he said he's had the lead, he's been the hero, and he's failed multiple times. And for that, I have to agree with what Madeeh said, so I give him the point.
So it is now 2-1. The collapse that Matt Beer predicted could happen has already started. So let's see if the collapse can be completed. So it is 2-1. However, if Matt gets any one of these particular speed round questions right, it will be over. So, Madeeh, you know what you got to do. You got to win out. So, we've got 2 speed round questions. I've seen these 2 speed round questions now, and yeah, this is going to be interesting too. So, hope you all brought your A game on these. So, the first speed round question is, and it's a one or the other. It's, which of the following Matt Damon performances was worse, The Brothers Grimm or Contagion?
Brothers Grimm.
Wait, what was the second one?
Contagion.
The Tangent? What the fuck is that?
Well, that's a great start for your argument. So, Madeeh, you started out with Brothers Grimm. Me personally, I would have put The Great Wall in there too, because I thought that was pretty abysmal too. So, but Madeeh, you got the Brothers Grimm. Tell us why this is the worst Matt Damon performance of these 2, at least.
Oh my God, Matt Damon, how far he could fall. I chose the Brothers Grimm because this movie had the potential to be good with him and great Heath Ledger starring as the 2 brothers. And every time I think of that movie, all I think of is Matt Damon yelling at Heath Ledger saying, "Beans, beans." And it's the most ridiculous goddamn scene in my mind of anything that Matt Damon has ever done. It's so annoying to even know that this movie happened the way it happened. Oh my God. Contagion, I feel like no one's... okay.
Yeah, I guess I forgot to bring up the 30 seconds, 15-second rebuttal. If you all are even still doing it that way, again, it's been so long since I hosted. I'm guessing that's how you're all still doing it. So, Matt, your 30 seconds will start with that other movie that apparently I couldn't pronounce right. So go ahead whenever you're ready.
Agent? How do you say it again? Contagion.
What they said.
Contagion.
Contagion. Okay.
Like something that's
the public school system right there.
All right, here we go. Okay, so when I saw The Brothers Grimm for the first time quite a bit of years ago, while it's not a good movie, I don't put that on Matt Damon. I actually thought Matt Damon was fine in this movie. He gives a decent performance. There's moments where like, it's not the greatest, but he doesn't flat out get bad with Contagion, whatever you want to pronounce it. Every time I see that movie, I literally feel like shit is going in my throat and in my eyeballs. Like, I mean, seriously, if you talk about annoying and Brothers Grimm, he's annoying in that movie. He literally made me wish he stopped acting in general. So,
all right, so good arguments by the first part. Matt's almost convinced me that he saw the movie that I still don't know how to pronounce.
That's okay, just a shitty title.
Okay, so 15-second rebuttal for Madeeh. Take whenever you're ready.
You know, I just realized I think I have seen Contagion, but it's so forgettable. I think what makes Brothers Grimm worse, his performance worse, is that I remember how bad it was. There's a forgettable performance, and then there's just a bad performance. Like, I remember Green Lantern for how bad it was. It's not forgettable. So I think Matt Damon in... Fuck, you know, that 15 seconds is way too short. Talk about how bad that movie is.
Take it up with the rules makers. I'm just the host. Actually, Matt's one of the people that puts these stuff together, so you can go
Matt,
bitch at him.
God damn it.
Yeah.
So, Matt, you're very quick 15 seconds, apparently. We'll start whenever you start talking.
Okay, look, Matt Damon wasn't going to win an Oscar for any of these movies, but when you watch Brothers Grimm, while it's a bad movie, Matt Damon actually makes it a little more watchable in a sense, because it's a terrible movie, but he's not bad in the movie. He actually is pretty good in the movie. Contagion, whatever, like I said, I feel like shit's going down my throat. He's terrible. He's awful. Win a Razzie.
Okay, so basically what I got from these 2 performances is they're both bad. So let's go with Kurt. Let's see if you could determine out of these 2 bad performances, which one was the more persuaded and convincing worse performance.
Okay, I haven't seen any of these movies, so I was going basically which one of them would convince me to want to see the movie the least, or at least watch the performance the least. And yeah, I think Matt had a little bit of an uphill battle here. I'm not sure if he's seen Contagion. He did his best there, but Madeeh gave me at least one specific scene that annoyed him and why it was bad. And he did bring up the point: bad is worse than bad. Memorable bad is worse than forgettable bad. So I'm going with Madeeh on this one.
All right, so that's one side for Madeeh. Grant, do you concur with Kirk?
Well, I did enjoy the reference to Beans. And basically saying it was just he just kept saying it was a bad performance, and he just referred back to the one scene. When Matt was talking around, having shit. Every time he watches that movie, it feels like he's got shit stuck in his throat. Kind of makes sense because everyone was choking in that film. Made me a bit of a giggle, and based purely and simply on the fact that actually that one made me laugh a little bit more because I thought the arguments were pretty even between the two. I'm giving my point to Matt.
All right, so it's one apiece. I'm the deciding vote here, and the fact that Madeeh could remember such a scene like beans, really. Now I'm gonna have a freaking beans scene stuck in my head when I go to sleep tonight. So thanks a lot,
You're
Madeeh.
welcome.
I'm almost regretting to have to give you the point here, but I feel like you just came up with the more convincing argument here. So it's now 2 apiece, and we now go to this final debate in the speed round. This is for all the marbles, for all the beans. Thanks a lot, Madeeh. So, final question to win this match. The question is, which Marvel TV character is the most likely to make their MCU debut after Jarvis from Agent Carter appeared in certain Avengers movie that just came out? Is it going to be either Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Daredevil?
Daredevil.
Quake.
All right, so Matt has Daredevil, and Madeeh has Quake. Matt, you made your statement first, so the 30 seconds will begin when you start talking.
Look, it's going to come down to this. What is the more known character? Quake is not going to get anything in the movie. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is such an abominable show, especially that first season. That alone is not going to give Quake a movie. But if you look at Daredevil, Daredevil is a more well-known character. His first 3 seasons of the show made that character, loved more than a lot of the MCU characters that we have at this moment. And they never said that they were going to recast. They did say they were going to continue at some form. So that right there makes me think, okay, we're going to get Daredevil, and maybe we'll get yeah.
Madeeh, whenever you're ready, your 30 seconds will start.
I'm strong with my choice with Quake because I think that they're going to have her as a side character in one of the upcoming movies. I think the actress Chloe Bennett is a phenomenal actress, and she's done really well with the role. The first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not good, but they really pick it up in the later seasons, so I don't think it's an abominable show, as you said. She doesn't have to have her own movie, and I think the Daredevil thing, the fact that it's on Netflix and the style of Netflix and what they can get away with on Netflix compared to what they do in the movies is what stops Daredevil from coming in. Same thing with Punisher. Like, if you bring him in, it's going to have to be R-rated.
Right, so good arguments in the first debate. Now we go to the second string of debates, 20 seconds. Matt, take it whenever you're ready.
Look, just because Netflix has one tone doesn't mean the MCU has to keep that tone. Daredevil is a well-known character on its own. You can do whatever tone you want as long as it's not straight comedy, and it could still work. Quake, maybe you'll get a TV show, but because of the Inhumans connection in the show as well, and how abysmal Inhumans was received on TV and whatnot, they're going to stay far away from that.
Madeeh, whenever you're ready.
I don't think people even remember the Inhumans because I completely forgot about it until you brought it up. I think that you can't really shift the tone of Daredevil because I think he's so set in the character and who he is as a character that you can't really shift the tone just to bring it into a movie. I feel like if you bring it into a movie, people are going to be like, you know what, I prefer the show and I want more seasons of the show. Whereas for Quake, if you have her as a good side character in, say, any of the upcoming movies that focus on S.H.I.E.L.D.
All right, so the final debate period, 10 seconds. You all were complaining about 15 seconds before, now it's just 10. So, Matt, your final 10 seconds, make it count.
Look, you can also keep the same tone with Daredevil. That doesn't mean you have to make it rated R. You can slightly tone it down with the blood and gore. And also, Kevin Feige did say, hey, we're not going to rule out R-rated movies in the future at any point. So you can even keep that tone if you want.
Madeeh, your counter argument whenever you're ready.
I think it's for a lot of people when I say that I would rather see 13 episodes or 10 episodes of Daredevil again on a Netflix style than see a 2-hour movie that was kind of dialed down a little bit or not to the same tone. Whereas I would much rather see Chloe Bennett star as like a very supporting role.
All right, so that was a really good debate from both of you. Really good match overall. But ultimately, we have to pick a winner and we have to pick a loser. So, Grant, we're going to start with you. Who did you think got this ultimate deciding point?
All right, well, it comes down to a couple of factors I want to say. The points that I did like, I like the fact that Matt said Daredevil is more known and more popular and definitely made it. Madeeh counteracted with the about the shifting tone and everything that probably wouldn't work with it. Matt mentioned that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was bad. Madeeh also mentioned that the first season was bad, so he's putting a negative on his own show that's connected to the character. But at the end, where Matt turned around and said that Kevin Feige is in talks of doing an R-rated film, and films don't have to necessarily always keep the same tone, but the characters can. So that's why I'm giving my point to Matt.
All right, so one for Matt. Kurt, I'm going to let you go next. I'll be the deciding factor if needed. Who did you side with this debate?
Okay. Again, here I think one person had it up a much more uphill battle to fight. Daredevil, beloved, universally beloved almost show on Netflix. Quake, a small character on a kind of lukewarm show to say the least. But I'll tell you what, Madeeh did exactly what I thought he needed to do. He pointed out that it was just who was going to be in a Marvel movie, not have their own Marvel movie. And I think they're much more likely to bring in a side character like we saw with Jarvis from the ABC show than we are to see a Netflix character get their entire own movie, which a Daredevil would have to either have his own movie or be a very central focus of the movie. So I think Madeeh really pulled out the upset there. I'm giving him my point.
All right, so interesting. Comes down to me. Didn't really want it to, but so.
You're on camera, JT. Just go with it.
Okay. Improv. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
So I really liked both stances you took. Obviously, two very different characters, so you had to make two different pitches on this. Matt did obviously brought up the popularity of the character. Obviously, make his own movie for that. Madeeh, as Kirk pointed out, did a nice job countering the fact that you didn't need to have its own particular movie. It can be a good side character. We've shown that there could be many good side characters. Never have to have their own movie to be important to the universe. Ultimately, what it came down to me, the one point that I wish Madeeh would have pointed out is just the fact that kind of Daredevil, the fact that his skill set kind of blends in with many other of the heroes currently in the MCU, that he just wouldn't stand out as much. And I feel like that was a point that was kind of missed. I really think he could have took advantage of that. Plus the fact that probably could have established more characters first before you brought in a Daredevil. Unfortunately, Madeeh didn't quite get to that part. While I liked his arguments very much about bringing in a Quake character, I have to give it slightly to Matt, and that's going to give Matt the final point. It's going to get him the win. So, Matt, you can rest easily. You did not collapse like I'm sure you thought you were going to 20 minutes ago. But
yeah, I thought I was going to fuck it up.
You should have, man. Personal opinion, you should have fucked it up.
Well, Daredevil's a flying movie now. Just throw that in.
First off, I want to apologize to Madeeh because I think I did this the first time I hosted a movie Battleground match. I put it down to the final vote, and you all ended up losing that match too to Manning.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
but maybe I just hate you because you're such a dick.
That's fair. That's 100% fair.
So I guess we'll just go do some interviews now. Matt, you got a win here, a much deserved win, even though you felt that you were going to blow it there for a little while. You kind of had an up and down career from movie Battleground. You were once in bottom of the barrel. I think you got your record reset, and then you've started to come on strong. You get a nice win here against Madeeh, who was a former tournament player in for Battleground. So how does it feel to get this win?
Feels good, obviously. I thought I was going to blow it. As soon as Kirk gave the point to Madeeh, I was like, well, I'm fucked. But I thought I was going to blow it. There was another point or two I forgot to mention I think would have maybe helped me more. But it's all right. Madeeh, you're one hell of a player. his record does not, reflect the quality of Madeeh as far as a competing state or stance. Because I mean, I've gone down to the final question against people like Brooklyn, who's in a title match right now. So, Madeeh, you're gonna go far. It's just, I guess it depends on the questions, because my last match I got fucked over by the questions because I didn't see any of the movies in the speed round. So yeah, I mean, I can see you going far in this league.
All right, very humbling words from the winner. Let's go to the unfortunate non-winner. I won't say loser, even though I just said it. So first off, Madeeh. First off, I'm sorry yet again. If you want to strangle me through your camera, you can. I'm ready. So.
I'm about to. Don't worry about it. There's kids watching though, so I'll wait till after we cut the stream.
You all have said the F word 15 times already. Come on, y'all don't.
Oh, fuck it. I mean, you know
He
what
said
I mean.
fuck like
This is why
55 times.
they don't want me on camera a lot. All right, I know that much. No, this is a fun match, man. I love playing around with these guys. Matt, appreciate what the words you said, man. Definitely think I have a lot of. I have no idea what my record is, but I definitely think I'm better than it. So that's, I agree with you on that point. I'm glad Bruce Willis didn't come up in this match. That's kind of a nice change of pace for me. Fuck Bruce Willis. I really like this match though. Like the Eli Roth question was out of fucking nowhere, but other than that, I really like a lot of these questions are really fun. Like I thought I had it on the end one. I'm not gonna lie. I really thought I had it on the end one, but to each his own.
All right, so I guess with all that said, we're going to bid our adieux. Let's go to our players first. Let's start with the winner. Matt, where can the good people find you online?
You can obviously find me here at Full Metal. Hopefully I'll be competing in trivia. I haven't competed in trivia since 1945, so we'll see if I can get a match with somebody. Yeah,
I think that's Clint Eastwood on screen right now, right?
Yeah. Pulling it back. No. What was I gonna say? Fuck. But no. Third shift kills. So, that's why I don't really compete in trivia. But it was scheduled to like 5 in the afternoon, and I'll compete. So maybe you'll find me here in that. You should find me in movie Battleground. You don't see me, but I'm at every single match in some way, shape, or form. And then we also announced recently we're going to be doing an additional 5 leagues on a completely different channel. It's where we uploaded the old matches on. We're going to have wrestling, video games, TV, the nerd/geeks things, and then sports. So if you're interested in that, let us know. We'll get you a match at some point, or you can judge if you want to, because you might want to lose a hair or two.
Right, so basically everything that's not movies, so everything that I would actually be decent in. So, Madeeh, where can the good and maybe not so good people find you on social media?
On social media, you can find me at Madeeh R on basically everything that I am figuring out how to use. I don't know what Pinterest or Tumblr or those things are, so any of the main ones, you can find me at Madeeh R. The not so good people, you can find me at your local strip club, paying $400 to someone named Cinnamon. That's
$400. Jesus Christ!
What?
So
she likes me.
Hey, my sister charges a high rate.
Feed the children. Feed the children. $400.
I can't afford your sister yet. I'm sorry. Next, when I get a raise at work, then I'll afford your sister. How about that?
Okay,
they call her Blue Sky.
That took a very weird turn. So
no
let's go to our.
I'll see you there on Thursday.
I don't think you and me will ever be in the same place. I think I can say that with a very clear conscience. So let's go to our great judges. It was a great crew that we had here. Let's start with Kirk. Where could the good people find you?
I'm trying to make as many appearances here on Full Metal as possible. I think I have a Battleground debut as a competitor coming up here soon. Matt, don't forget about that.
Yes, you do.
And
you're on the list.
I'm on Facebook under Kirk Kolakowski. Good luck trying to figure out how to spell that. A little simpler to find me on Letterboxd. I'm Kirk Kobal. Follow me over there, and we'll talk about movies.
Sounds good. Grant, where can the good people find you?
You can find me running the Comic Book League over in Jack of All Trivia. We are also doing a very similar thing. We're going to be doing Battlegrounds, but based purely and simply just on comics themselves. So if anyone's interested in that, hit me up. It should be a lot of fun. And thanks for having me. And also, you'll see me pretty soon in my very first match on this channel. Thank you.
And you can find me on at social media, WWJTH1 on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube doing my JTH Reacts to the Movie Trivia Schmodown. And you can find me on Facebook, Jeremy Hastings, when I'm actually not using the JTH name. With all that being said, for Matt, Madeeh, Kurt, Grant, and myself, this has been Movie Battleground. And until next time, we all bid you adieu-adieu.